That one took a minute or two extra to upload. Okay, where was I? It was a scary hospital services. Coin in your lungs. They put you on a hand respirator. The doctors took turns. Then, and this is still the picture of the residence where people stayed when they had a child at the Janeway. This is Daddy's room that he was staying in. They flew you to the Janeway. Daddy followed on a commercial airliner. I had just had a major surgery, so I could not fly for a week. I spent my days waiting to fly out with you. Finally, they released me from the Captain William Jackman Memorial Hospital. I spent a day or so at home with Nana, and I believe it was about blood clots or something, because they had pills that you had to take to be sure you didn't get a blood clot. And when you fly, they always tell you that you have to move your legs a fair bit, because if you're sitting still for a long period of time, you could get a blood clot. Silly things I've heard. I'm not sure what the actual reason was, but Nana flew to St. John's with me as I was still having difficulty moving around, and I had put on a lot of weight before that, and when I was pregnant, indeed, some days I wasn't like diamonds, and some days are gold dust. Some days I felt puffier than others, but when I got on the plane, I couldn't fit the seatbelt around me, so they had to give me one of those extensions. And honestly, that almost wasn't enough. I don't know what really big people do on airplanes. But I got there. Nana was comforting to me. I love Nana. This is the kitchenette in the hostel room where Daddy stayed during the first week. I am not sure if those buildings are still there. He said he used to hear children running in the hallways in between their appointments. If they were not sick enough to stay in a bed in the hospital, but needed specialized doctors. You had swollen to about 10 pounds during all of the stress, and with the medications, which you were puffy, but you had been almost 10 pounds when you were born anyway. You still looked so tiny there on that big bed covered with wires and tubes. Daddy sat with you to keep you company, and Mommy remembered the sweet smell of you as she waited to hold you in her arms. And this is the machine. The bed you were in. Had you all bundled in. But your face had puffed up. But Daddy was the only one there with you. The nurse said that when she told you I was coming that day, you actually opened your eyes, looked for me. So you knew me. We were talking the 9 months. Sure, you know me in heaven. During your first few days at the Janeway, I love you. The special team in the ICU, the intensive care unit, worked around the clock to be sure that you were getting plenty of air into your lungs, and that your lungs were processing the air, the oxygen, properly and sending it out into your body through your blood. What a very strong baby you were to keep listening to us, encouraging you to stay and keep trying to breathe. It must have been tiring for such a little baby. I love you. I love you, God. I didn't know that we would end up here. If we had been in Labrador, there would have been a support system. But we're in pagan land. Here we go. The medical team had strongly advised that we boost your immune system with breast milk. So I tried a variety of manual and battery pumps in Labrador, as you had to have them brought in from the drugstore then by Nana. And we had some luck expressing a few bags of milk, which they sent out by air to the Janeway. They saved them in the fridge as you were on an IV, an intravenous anyway. We could not begin feeding you, apparently, until you came off of the respirator. Out of all of the babies, you were the only baby who was not a preemie, a preterm baby. Preemie is the everyday word used to describe a baby who is born or must be born before the due date, before 9 months are up. Even more so for those babies born before 6 months are spent inside their mommy's womb. There, sadly, were several other babies under 3 pounds, very tiny, in the ICU with you. You were post-term, born at least 2 weeks after the due date.